Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? Yeah, glad you liked it, Ray. Glad you liked it. Hopefully you were able to make a buck or two, couple pennies, put them in the stock drawer, save it for later, stuff the mattress, whatever it is you like to do with your cash flow. Hey, Sledge. Hey, Laura, George, Don, Mark, everybody. If you want to chat with me while we're on this live stream here, click the link right over here. Click this green button to be a subscriber on the channel, and you can chat with me just like all these other awesome people here tuning in. If you're watching later while I'm no longer live, sorry, you'll have to leave a comment down below, and that's kind of the way it rolls. So, crypto passed $2 trillion market cap again for the first time in like 25 months or so, something like that. And wow, I mean, Bitcoin been rocking and rolling the last few days. Hey, welcome everybody. There's Infinity popping in. Face melting rally. That's right. Anyway, we have GDP, preliminary GDP coming up tomorrow. We have PCE coming up on Thursday. Dang, this week's already zipping by. And as always, we will do 30 minutes of your requests, but hold off. Wait until we're ready for that. Let's go through everything popping and talk about the lay of the land, shall we? But first off, before we jump into it all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. Just because I predict it doesn't mean it's going to happen. I may never get another prediction right again. That would kind of be sucky, but kind of affect my performance in this game. But hey, a lot of things I've said coming true. A lot of not everything, but a lot of things. It's pretty wild. Anyway, this presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining. Not a recommendation to buy or sell anything out there at all. Don't buy stocks, don't buy options, don't buy Forex, don't buy futures, don't buy cryptos, don't buy bonds, don't buy treasuries, don't buy any of it, don't trade them. Don't do that stuff, all right? Unless you know what you're doing. And if you desire personal financial advice, that's not what I do. You got to hire and consult a financial advisor that has a fiduciary duty to give you advice based on your situation, which is not at all what I do. Not even like pretend. So, anyway, I mean, there's some smart, prudent things, like booking profits, closing stuff that's down, that's going against you. I mean, prudent stuff. We tell everybody this stuff, but you got to be careful. I mean, nobody's watching out for you but you. Even if you hire somebody, even if you hire a financial advisor, they're probably not looking out for you as much as you would look out for you. All right, nobody cares about number one but number one. Nobody cares more about number one than number one in general. So we have tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. preliminary GDP. This could be a market mover. Is it going to be a market mover up? Well, not so sure. Is it going to be a market mover down? Still not so sure. I think it's probably going to come in hot. Probably hot, which in the case of hot, I mean, it could be down. GDP could be down. Although, when we look at the chart, it's just kind of been flat. Tends to run kind of flat. So we'll see how this actually runs. I don't know. Not usually, we don't usually experience big outliers. That's kind of the way of it. So we would, we got this little dip last year, well, 2 years ago now, back in 2022, and we'll see what happens now. This is preliminary for Q4 last year. It probably came in strong. I mean, probably did. Now, even more important than that one is the one on Thursday. This PCE deal. This is probably a market mover. This is Jerome Powell's favorite measure of inflation, personal consumer expenditures. Get the words out of my mouth. And we'll see how that one comes in also. I think we could probably see it coming in hot. I'm kind of expecting maybe another pop up here. So we could definitely see this popping. And this one's curious because we didn't really see that dip. We saw the dip in GDP, but we didn't see the dip in, at least not a negative dip, in personal consumer expenditures. And the trend right now, though, is down. So that's kind of curious too. So, what does PCE include? Well, it depends on if you're talking about core PCE or PCE, just the vanilla PCE or core PCE, and that one was core. So look, if we pop it over and look it up, it's a measure of prices that people living in the United States or those buying on their behalf pay for goods and services. Sometimes called core PCE price index because the two categories have price swings. Food and energy are left out to make the underlying inflation easier to see. So let's just measure inflation and leave out the two major things that everybody has to buy every day. I mean, you don't go anywhere without buying gas or paying for electricity, right? And I don't know about you, I eat 3 times a day. Let's just leave out the food. Whatever. Such bullcrap. Such bullcrap, right? I mean, we all agree. So that's the core. The yeah. If you want to know the difference, the difference right there. CPI measures the out-of-pocket expenditures of all urban households, and the PCE index measures the change in goods and services consumed by all households. So, I mean, that's like a nuance right there. Nuance. That's what I would say. That's nuance. And I don't know about you, but everything's getting more expensive. I mean, Chick-fil-A sandwich not going down. Whopper not going down. I mean, McDonald's cheeseburger not going down. It doesn't matter what you go buy. Go buy. The only thing that's kind of relatively chill is pork. Pork hadn't moved that much. We had a big glut of pork, and then it kind of came back down. Anyway, let's pitter patter. Let's talk about some other things here. So I was talking about crypto rocking, and look at that spike right there. Is this the FOMO rally I was talking about? Maybe it got started early. I didn't expect it to start until roughly update. That's not accurate. There it goes. 51. I expected it to start in about 6 days really. 45 days out. We're 51 days out. We're already potentially getting started here. Got about 7,600 blocks left. So, just shy of 7,700, I guess. Well, 7,500 maybe. This is inaccurate down here. I don't know what's going on down there, but 7688 blocks to go. And yeah, that's like the stupidest idea ever. Who's gonna stay like? If you're sitting there in line at Wendy's and you watch the price of burgers go up, do you just drive out of the drive-thru? I think so. That is like the dumbest idea ever. Whoever came up with that idea on Wendy's surge pricing, they're gonna spend money to update the order boards and come up with the surge pricing bullcrap. I mean, it's just the stupidest idea ever. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go get a burger, and when I get there, it's a different price than when I looked it up. That's the stupidest idea. So stupid. All it means is that people will, if they have actual big dips in the price, that's the time you go buy a burger, maybe. But at surge time, I'll go somewhere else. And I don't see how that can be a win. That's like, if they're not testing that in a small way, that is the stupidest idea to roll out on a big scale without testing that. Anyway, right there. That's basically the estimated time we've got left to halving. And I think we're probably seeing the FOMO load up. We're seeing a lot of volume on the ETFs. volume does not necessarily equate to inflows, but end of the day, we're seeing those ETFs buying and buying. And assets under management, $6.65 billion. It's getting to be the same. That's very close to MicroStrategy right there. MicroStrategy has 190,000 Bitcoins, or 190 whatever thousand, 193,000 I guess, worth 10 point whatever billion. So IBIT is quickly catching up to the number of Bitcoins that are held by MicroStrategy. And oops. You can see MicroStrategy coming up just shy of my 900 target. I actually bumped up to 950 just for giggles. We'll see what happens. Rolling on the fib level right there. 993. It depends on if you're rolling with the log mode or not log mode. The not log mode seems to work very well for MicroStrategy, but log mode would say we may see a pop up to 993. Which one's right? I don't know. Stuff that moves more than $50 tends to work better with log mode, but MicroStrategy tends to work better without log mode. I mean, look at how it hit almost perfectly at 800 right there. Retraced back in, filled the back to the retest the support level here, and then shot right up, right close to that 1618. So interesting for sure. Interesting for sure. Anyway, that's what we got. I mean, Mara shot up, bounced right off of that 1272 and retraced right back down to that support level. Same deal. Everybody's like, what happened to Mara today? What happened? It bounced right off of the 1272. Look, I mean, see that right there? I can jump down a time frame, but we essentially bounced right off of the 1272. Right off of it. Retraced it right back down. Where does that leave us? It leaves us potentially ready to go again to the 1618 up at 35. Now, earnings tomorrow. We had a big talk, debate, whatever you want to call it, about earnings this morning. Now, Mara is unique in that they pretty much tell all their numbers every single month on their investor relations page. They just blab it out there for the world. They don't really hide anything. So, unlike some other crypto miners, while there may be a move involved in Mara's earnings, it's not typically an earnings mover. It just doesn't happen to typically be an earnings mover. You can go back and look at all the earnings previous. I mean, they're all marked right here. If you have them turned on, it doesn't typically respond to earnings because they tell all. I mean, they don't hide anything. Things like everybody's like, well, why was CleanSpark a giant mover? If you go look at CleanSpark's investor page, only December and January are the only 2 months that they've reported their mining operations. Before that, it was all secret. So, on their earnings, CLSK, on their earnings that just happened a few days ago, back on the 8th, going to be 3 weeks ago, back on the 8th, they moved, right? Moved big. Well, they were reporting for presumably the fourth quarter here. December was the only month out of there that they reported any operations for mining. So October, November were complete secret. How'd they do? We don't know. So now they're becoming more transparent, posting their mining operation updates every month, similar to Mara. Riot is another one that they don't really post a lot. They didn't really, came in very in line with expectations, didn't really move a lot. So I guess they were estimated to lose a bunch of money, but they came in standardized. But I don't know. Whatever. They don't report much of their earnings or mining operations either on their investor page. So it's one of those things to keep up with. Not all companies do the same thing. So anyway. And talking about Wendy's, look at the charts. They're in the dumpster fire of death spiral, looks like to me. They may go back to lows seen here, or even lows seen here. No bueno to me. Like nice big range there and just trading in the range. If you look at the, that's the bottom, that's the top. We're just in the middle of the box. I mean, almost dead center in the middle of the box. Do you want to mess with that? It's not something I'm messing with. Not a big mover. Hadn't been a big mover. Probably not going to be a big mover. Yeah. Uninteresting. Maybe like, is it a great short? Not really. There's not huge downside potential. Not compared to something like this. I mean, this is $850 worth of downside potential. So you definitely got to watch the landscape here. Definitely got to watch the landscape. Be careful. Know what you're doing. Have a plan. When something's not going to the plan, change out. And I've said for a while, I was talking about this morning. Here's the top 15 NVIDIA customers, right? Supermicro coming in here underneath Dell. But Dell's not going crazy, right? Dell buys those things, buys more than Supermicro, and sells them. Interestingly enough. You look at Dell, and the chart is, I mean, while it's up, it's just not like, it's nowhere near SMCI crazy up. SMCI just went a little nuts. Why? For no good reason. No good reason at all. So just watch out, all right? Make sure you got time. The wheels are going to come off one of these days. I've got money bet on it. I mean, it's not that I would bet on it. I do have money bet on it that the wheels are going to come off of this thing. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, the entirety of that chart actually is only 40% of revenue. Right there. 40% of the revenue is these customers right here. Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Alphabet, Dell, Supermicro. So there's a long tail out here that represents the other 60% of NVIDIA's business. Alrighty. Let's talk about actually what we can, some things that actually mean something to us, shall we? And ES is just kind of chopping around. This may, in fact, pop on up, hit this level. We could blow on up higher. Definitely be cautious betting against the ES. I think we have another pop to go, possibly up to this 5150. Then we'll see what happens. In Q, could pop it right up into this maybe 18,400 area. Maybe. Could just be churning. Once we get a pop, then it's game on for a drop. Russell was showing some freaking strength, man. I was pretty impressed with this today. On what? I mean, maybe that's the miners right there. Is that the crypto miners doing that? I don't know. There was some. I saw an article that said small caps were rocking it, but I couldn't find many small caps that actually looked worth a darn. And if you look down here, right here, Russell 2000 stocks above their 50-day moving average. This is Russell, right? Where's the super squeeze going on here? That doesn't look like a small cap rally to me. That looks like a temporary pause before we plummet down into the abyss here. It's not usually the kind of bottom that we see before we head on down to the 20. All right. Be careful out there on chasing narratives from the mainstream media. I mean, this would be more like a move like that before we go up. Something like that. Maybe something like this, more likely. We'll see what we get. We'll see what we get. We don't typically miss after we've been up at the top. I mean, we could do another one of these. We typically go tag the bottom, before we go back to the top. We're back near the top. Then we'll come back, tag the bottom. May tag the bottom several times. Then we'll go tag the top. And then tag the bottom, tag the top. That one had an intermediate bottom top. It's just the way R2FI, S5FI, NDFI, that's the way they work. All right. It's like a giant market oscillator. NDFI, hanging out in the middle. So, and then Goose asked me about this one today. Somebody on CNBC was blabbing about the fact that we hadn't seen stocks above their 200-day. We haven't seen that pop above 80%. We came up really close to 80%. This is dangerous, though. Like, we haven't seen this the entire time from the bottom. Yeah, this was down at 10%. This came up right in the 75 area, drop. Right in the 75 area, drop. Right in the 75 area, what do you think is going to happen? Come on. Unlikely we're going to continue higher. Now, also, look at this. If we roll back, this is telling also, I think, into 2021, right? Look what we were doing as we went higher and higher and higher in the S&P until we topped out early January 22. Look at that. That's we topped back here, April. We were going down as the market went higher and higher. And then we got the big correction. All right, be careful. That's what I would say. Be careful. All right, moving on, moving on. So that's kind of the indexes in a nutshell. And jumping over to oil. Just churning. Now, I want to show you something. Look at this. I'm not saying this is what's going to play out or anything like that. Just hear me out for a second. Look at this right here. I just saw this before I came on here. I was like, ooh, that's kind of interesting. It's like potential. It could be a head and shoulders up. It could be a head and shoulders down. Very choppy, though. And kind of a sideways thing. I'm not going to draw them on here, but interesting nonetheless that this could be kind of a big head and shoulders looking thing. Talking about like, I said I wasn't going to draw them on here, but they're not exactly proportional. It's more like a shoulder, shoulder, head, or head, shoulder, head. I don't know. That could play out. Could play out up. And the opposite could be said, and it could play out to the downside. That could be a shoulder, head, and we round out a shoulder right there. Going the other way. So, interesting patterns. So we got this right here. That one right there. That one kind of messed with the neckline a little bit. Could have another one setting up and go down. So both those sit up on oil, and we're just churning right in between the resistance zone of the prior high from late January and the support zone from down here where we keep bottoming and not breaking into. So just churning in that spot. You know, it took 2 days to go up, took 1 day to come down. We may, if we're going to break out, we'll probably break through that. If we're going to break down, who knows? We may just turn sideways more. So there you go. And Quasimodo head, shoulder. Yeah, it's like head, head, head almost, or shoulder, shoulder, shoulder. Not really a clear, defined head in that pattern. Brent is still riding higher. This one looks like it's ready to rip. So that may be telling the story. CL may be unclear and a little bit more unclear. Brent looks like it's about to break out. Gasoline on the contract rollover popped up, sitting here at this kind of resistance area. I mean, Ford started shipping gas-powered trucks again, halted the Lightnings. Sounds like demand's going to increase to me. I don't know about you. Could see gasoline popping back up here again. This is that could be the bottom of the move. We could be getting ready to launch off. Now we may see a retrace and then a bigger move up. Heating oil, diesel fuel, also winding up for the pitch. Looks like to me a little more bullish on the retraces here than see. Oil is very choppy. It's very choppy and overlapping. With all this overlappy, it's almost like static, you know. Whereas these patterns are a little more clear that we're about to rip. At least that's what it looks like to me. Finding some serious resistance here, but we're working through it. We're making higher highs. Watch out for the big pop. We'll probably pop up here and test this, get a retrace, and then maybe go bigger up. Natural gas continues to be soft. I thought we would see a retrace and then possibly another push lower. We'll see what if that actually plays out or not. It might. It might. GC is just hanging right below the resistance. We bounced off the support. If we can get above here, that kind of tips the odds that we're going on up to 2100, possibly 2130, and maybe just maybe we break out and go on up to higher targets like 2200, maybe 2280, maybe 23. We'll see what this actually happens. A little premature on those bigger targets at the moment. So there are bigger targets in play if we can actually get through this. This was a lower high here, so that's resistance. This is resistance because this was a lower high. This was a big rejection. We popped and then got slammed really hard for several days right back down here. We didn't make a third wave down. This is like a retrace up and then consolidations inside that range. I would like to see it either flush down, clear this up, or let's just break out and get out of here. Silver looking a little weaker though, and like it might need one more big nasty flush down to clear this pattern up right here. That one does have a pretty defined head and shoulders in there, and just kind of sitting, consolidating under the neckline. One nice little flush, clear that up. JT, what is the real world assets coin in your opinion? I have no idea what that is. And HG is just chopping. Lower high, lower high, lower high. That's weak. And for a long time, I've had a potential where I moved down to about 275 on copper. I think we might need to get that flush out in the market before we can break out and go higher. Just kind of feel it. I kind of feel it. I mean, this looks corrective. Need a final flush. Now we could be in part of a bigger B wave correction that actually pops right up here around 450 before we get the final flush. So I'm not sure on that. Like this could have been the A wave, and this could have been a fast A wave. This could be an A wave of the B wave. This could be a B wave, and then we working on the C wave of the B wave. And it gets really in the weeds, but needless to say, this doesn't look resolved. Certainly not bullish with the series of lower highs here. And yeah, I wouldn't be chasing down copper or for any of you that paid attention, I basically called shenanigans on all the copper super cycle, all that stuff that was going around last year. And as we see, where's all that rhetoric now? The copper hadn't gone anywhere. I'm still looking for that big flush though. Not trading for it, just waiting for it. I'll probably be a buyer down there, but just waiting for it. Lumber. This has not worked since they changed the contract. They went to a different accounting system on lumber futures, and it doesn't even trade the same way anymore. Almost nothing you can tell. Housing futures up a little bit. We may extend that on up to the 343 area. And Like I said, pork was the only thing that hadn't really gone anywhere. 93 cents a pound on the wholesale. And they did redo the contract back here, changed, and they went from pork bellies and I forget what the other thing was, to pork cutout futures, and just hovering at 93 cents a pound. Not really popping. I mean, we had a pop back here right after COVID, but it's been down. And you can compare that to lean cattle that's been sitting up here at all-time highs, $1.87 a pound. And that's live. That's on the hoof. So when you shave that down, you're talking about like $3 a pound or $4 a pound for processed meat. And that's why the grocery store prices are so ridiculous. So anyway, all right. It's coming to that time where I will take your request. Now, first thing first, the rules before you go. 1 ticker per person. Let somebody else go, and then you can go again. Now, if you give me more than 1 ticker, I'm probably going to ignore it. So 1 ticker per person, and then let somebody else go, and then you can hit me again. All right, NEM, I see. Into the abyss. Into the abyss. But, look right here. This is a measured bounce. Big scale, big picture measured bounce right here. If we hold this price right in here and turn up, the targets are very lofty. Very lofty indeed. It depends on if you go log scale or not log scale. Let's go not log scale. It's more conservative numbers. We're talking about moves up to 100. Now, if you're going to play that, look, I mean, this is like long time frame. This took a long time to do from here to here. This may, in fact, take a long time to do from here to here. So be careful. Be careful. Maybe we could be talking about 2030s. So anyway, Amazon. I think that needs a retrace, honestly. That 160 area was my long-term target. We popped up above it and stopped right where we've kind of topped out before. Amazon had a lot of trouble getting through this zone. A lot of trouble. See the highs right over here. Peaked out a bunch of times. So we're in the, if we pop that all-time high, I mean, we've popped it once, popped it twice. If we pop it again, odds are we're going to get a negative reaction before we can just bust through. Now, we did have a split in here, so this is, adjusted down by a factor of 20. But, it could pop through. But it's likely to get a retrace. I would feel a lot better about it. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would feel a lot better if we got a retrace now. I would probably load up with some long-term equity exposure, looking for that pop to break on through. FCX. Now you're going to ask me FCX, huh? Garbage. Looks just like the copper chart. Garbage. Absolute garbage. Probably going lower. Look. A wave, B wave, C wave down. Plain and simple. 1. You use the 3-point tool right there. Target right down here. Would I trade it? No. Would I wait for it? Yeah. All right. And I don't know anything about the public offering, so I can't talk. I can't speak to that. It's beyond the scope of what I do during 30 Minutes Awesome. I look at your charts. I don't look at news and digest it. We came up, hit the resistance there, and potentially made a 1-2. Looks like we may get a third wave flush if we get further down. Holding the roadmap line is positive, and I would expect it to go up. I hold a few shares. I don't hold options. So we'll see. I actually bought my shares at 53, so I'm about $13 underwater. I think I literally have 2 shares. So it's not a big play for me. Anyway, moving on. BTBT. That rejecting with a lower high, not the best. I do have like I have like 300 calls. They're like $1.50 calls that I bought back here out as far as I could get them, probably 2025 at the time, January 25. They usually only do 2 years out. And they're sitting in profit, but that's not the most bullish of patterns. Hate to say it. I do like the fact we held kind of a measured bounce. This not going higher, not getting anywhere near the high we had back here in December. It's not giving me that warm and fuzzy feeling in my belly right now that I would like to see. So very cautious on this one. And if it fails to go, it's going to be kind of a bummer. Really need to get above this 415 area so we can see a move up to 6. Roku continues to be pretty crap. Right down to the bottom of the range. We may see a retrace back up to 72 and then extension down to 55. Simple as that. There's no reversal, no upside potential at this point. And we could break on down and go even lower, like down in the 30, possibly 15. Be careful. BT doesn't really track. I mean, is it tracking Bitcoin? So the question raised, does it track Bitcoin? They are minor, but obviously when we do this and we add just any of the Bitcoins here, there's a divergence. Now, if you're going back, where are you going to line it up from? It was outperforming here. Did that make any sense? No, it came right back down. Is it in line? Maybe. If you go back to the bottom, back here in November of 22, Bitcoin made its lows right there. BTBT was underperforming, outperformed, came back in line, outperformed, and basically in line. You got Bitcoin up 220% and BTBT up 200%. All right. How do you do that? You just click the compare button and put in whatever you want to compare. We were outperforming. That would have been time to sell, time to buy, time to sell, time to buy. There you go. Dun, 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 dun. ECBC. And we should probably turn off Bitcoin. That looks like a piece of garbage. I wouldn't touch that. Looks horrible. PANW has bounced off the roadmap line. We get above this resistance here, and we set the stage to go to 413, possibly 453. We could, in fact, find resistance here and turn down again. So be careful. Further downside, maybe something like this. Right down here. That may be conservative. This be 191. Certainly be careful. Just because Nancy Pelosi bought $200 calls doesn't mean we're not going to 200. Be careful. EZBC. I don't have anything to chart that, so MCD. I'm not going to be able to chart any of the new spot ETFs and tell you anything. McDonald's turned down at the resistance. And be cautious. We may go for another roadmap line visit. Could go on an extension. It's an A, a B. Potential to go down to 277. Make a lower low. Could get an extension, 271. Definitely watch Now, if we hold on the flip side, just big picture, that looks like an A, a B, and possibly a C. Now, the other alternative here, oops, wrong tool, 2-point tool, the low, the high. I have to turn this off for a second so we can see it. And turn this off for a second so we can see it. We may come down to retest this zone right here, just above the roadmap line, make a higher low, come down in here, and then get the next move up. I like that. How do you know which one? You don't. That's what makes this difficult. I don't like this choppy garbage, especially since it's been chopping in this zone right in here for quite a while. And it turned down right there where we've turned down once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. One of these times it's going to pop and go, but doesn't appear today was the day. Alrighty. STX is popping. Upside 93. Simple as that. Watch for retrace after that. I kind of did exactly what I thought too. Should reach just a little bit higher. And last week I gave you 2 tickers you ignored, but I want to overlap them with each other. I don't remember last week. Sorry. APT. Alpha Pro. Not much to compare here. Up to the 1272. May retrace and then extend to 6. It is less than $10. Stuff under $10 doesn't always work. NOC is just hanging in the range that we set back here in October. Made a pop, and then just this overlappy consolidation, and we're just right in the middle, sideways. That's why I drew a big sideways arrow here. Continuing sideways, may drift down. This was an indication that we may pop up and get a continuation down. And right now, that may extend us down to 417, possibly 405, possibly down even lower to these lower targets. Did I just do that one? I don't remember. Yeah, that was the one. Under $10. AVGO. The screen skipped. Lost where I was briefly. I'm not using YouTube to chat with y'all, so just so you know, this is a third-party program I have the chat up through, and sometimes it glitches a little bit. AVGO looks like it still wants to get a retrace of that giant move up. We are quite a ways away from the roadmap line, and we may see a big outsized retrace, and that may come next week when it reports earnings. Be careful. Could we see further upside? Sure. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, we've had some volatility before, though. That one kind of churned through 2 earnings before we got another pop. There's been plenty of good earnings back here where we just kind of chopped and drifted lower. We're definitely extended on the upside and may need an outsized retrace at this time. So be careful. Running well above the historical price to sales, coming in roughly 6, 7, and we're running at 15. That's double. We could see an outsized retrace that cuts 50% off this baby. Back to 600. Dun, 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 dun. DE. Dear is looking like it's going down, down, down. Target's down here at 340. Same chart I've had. TLT, no updates. TLT has broken below the roadmap line. This one may make a lower low. May, in fact, make a lower low. That's very interesting. We popped up, hit the 786 there. So first line of support would be right here. Do this all a different way. If, in fact, we're going lower at 618, funny enough, comes at the bottom of that. If we break below that area right there, break below here, tips the odds, 70% likely we're going to do an extension down to a lower low. So there's your line in the sand there. If we get below 89, maybe even 88.50, if you want to be a little more conservative, probably heading down here. Back down to 78-ish. Wouldn't that throw everything for a loop? That's in line with the DGS2. DGS2 looks like it's going to ramp again. TLT could make a lower low. It's interesting. We've got the reverse repo. Looks like it's going to be all cleaned out by July at the current rate we're going. Then we're going to have to switch over to creative treasury financing, which is going to suck money out of the stock market instead of out of the reverse repo. And we'll see what happens. We can make a high in the markets. I'm not saying it's going to happen. TGLS, long-term bullish. I got in down here. We're just on the path. Nothing different, nothing new. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Retrace. Potential wave 2. We could be embarking on the wave 3 here soon. My targets, 66 would be, well, yeah, 66 would be a conservative target. Possibly 77. Possibly if you want to go super aggressive, up here 90 to 100. And that depends on if you have it on long scale or not. If you have it on long scale, these targets don't look as ridiculous. 97 to 135. There you go. Big long-term pattern. What options? I wouldn't play that with options. I played it with shares. I'm up almost 100% on my shares already. SWIN. That looks like a horrible chart. I don't know what to say. That looks pretty bad. Oof. Maybe it goes back up here, but there's nothing I would. There's nothing that would make me want to trade that chart at this point. Nothing at all. CVNA is popping right up through the 1618. Next level up, 97, 108, and then probably retrace again. Basically glanced right off my target zone and took off. Yep. Pretty strong resistance in here. Maybe pop up in this 97 to 100, maybe 108 area. Maybe. I'd watch out for another one of these prolonged retraces here. On Carvana. I lost where I was on the chat. STLD. In the upside, right there, 150 and 160 above that. $50, 160. Sometimes it doesn't even change. BITS, bits. if it's going to extend. 73, 81. HOOD. Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. I'd like to see this extend to the 18 area, possibly to 22, before we get a bigger retrace. That was a nice breakout. Nested. I am long shares, but my shares I bought up here somewhere. I think it was right here. No, it was right. I bet it was up here. Somewhere up in here, I bought I was selling stuff and got put shares, and then I was selling calls against them, and then it dropped out, and then I've been selling long-term calls against those, and just sitting on it, making my money back, digging out of the hole. It's not many shares. Like I've got maybe 200 shares and 100 in each in two different accounts. Just digging them back out slowly but surely, selling calls upside calls against them. Some of the longest trades I've ever done, just selling calls against shares. So there's hood. Upside 18 and 22 would be my next upside targets. Coming right into that prior high today. Popping through it, looks like, after market. Beautiful. Love it. All right. ZB1, exclamation point. Treasury bond. Didn't do the bullish thing. Starting to do the bearish thing. Watch out below. 104. It's basically right in line with the TLT. How do you know? Well, how do you know when it's getting there? We get below this area right here. We get below that. Watch out. Probably 102, maybe down to 95. It may go, may pinball down there. All right. Carts. I don't purposefully negate anybody, but you got to be specific when you ask something. I don't have enough candles to do anything. Sorry. Can't tell you anything. It's just sideways. That's I don't know if that was the IPO or just bad data. Doesn't have the little dinosaur, which it usually does when it's IPO. I don't know if that was a conversion or what, but not enough data for me to do anything with. Yep. There's plenty of other stuff. You don't need to trade the new stuff. Hit the upside, retrace deeply, lower high, lower high. My guess would be going down. No target at this point. I don't see any reason to mess with that. But is winding up, double topped right there. I have a long-term position on right now. Looking for this to break out above this prior high. Hoping it does it. I'm up 200 and something percent. Bought down here in June. Just churning. I'm out to 25, I think. This was a measured bounce setup. Went a little deeper. Popped up. It's possibly a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Retrace. The next move up should take us up here. 80, possibly 90. But strong resistance at the 67 level. That's why I've got alert there. So we'll see. Small time frame. Probably going to hit the roadmap line. Then bounce. That's 1, 2. Third down. And then go. We'll see. We'll see. ONDO. Just hovering. I don't know what that. I'm guessing that's you're trying to look at ONDO USD. Should write it that way, and there's not enough candles to do anything with, so yeah, look at that one. MGPI. Holy moly, that's bad. Ugh. That's a bad chart. 73 maybe. We don't hold that. Watch out for 60. Zoom over, zoom out. Yeah, it's funny enough. Look, that level lines up with that. That level lines up with that. And those levels won't, like, these fib lines weren't there until the way down. Funny enough. So, tell me there's not something to this sometimes. Anyway. STX USD. Just write them STX USD. You're going to ask for a coin. Yeah. Upside targets right there. $1.20. $4 and $5. And good evening. Let's see. GLTR. Topping out. Upside 26. Didn't do the bigger retrace that I was looking for, so I didn't get into it. Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. That was a nice roadmap bounce, but it needed a retrace deeper to get me interested because that was potentially a 5 up. Maybe that's the completion of the 5 up. I don't know. It needs a 618 retrace at this point to get me interested in getting into it, which is now up a little bit. If we come back to 14, it'd be probably a load up opportunity. LUNR, LUNR went down in a blaze of glory. They ended the mission and got a little bounce today, it looks like, but probably going nowhere. I'm betting they come back down here. Burning cash. So you Soundhound just popped. No good reason to pop. Low price stuff under 10 bucks. Could that be the bottom getting out of here? Maybe. Pop. Which one's the lowest low? That one. If it's going to be bullish, it needs to get to 12 or 22. If it's not going to be bullish, it's going to turn down here and go lower, which lower puts it out of business, maybe. Be careful. They don't always follow patterns when they're that cheap. AI, C3 AI just churning sideways. Not really doing anything at this point. Just flattened out, doing nothing. Doing a bunch of nothing. So much for the giant hype early. Just doing nothing. Whole lot of nothing. Anyway, UA. Well, I tell you, in COVID time, I thought this was going out of business. Down below COVID times. Well, unless they fill the gap, they're probably going on a path to go lower again. BABA, potentially working on a bottom. Got to get above. Did this head and shoulders thing, and it's got to get above the roadmap line. It's been a sloppy head and shoulders. Tried to go. Nope. Can we go now? Maybe. Here's the market back open. Market back open. That's a 3-wave down. Did Buffett give up on this one yet? Paid a dividend? That's crazy. Why would they pay a dividend? If your stock's beat up like that, why would you pay a dividend? You only pay dividends when you can't invest in the future. Oof. You pay dividend like stock. Okay, companies pay dividends when they don't see prospective future explosive growth. If you see future prospective explosive growth, you're going to invest in the explosive growth. Paying dividends, I mean, that was kind of the death nail for Apple when it started paying dividends, is that the explosive growth period was basically done. Now it's grown quite a bit, but the explosive growth period basically done, and we're just kind of been grinding it out here ever since. So I'm not sure that's very good for Baba to be paying a dividend. Curious on that one. Anyway. Headlines are magical. Yeah, they are. Uber. U-B-E-R. Uber. Keeps grinding higher. Target right up there. 89.90. J&J is a potential breakout here. We're sitting above the 618 line. 165, 168. Upside targets. There you go. It's not a big mover. And we may hit our head on the channel up here. MOS. If anybody's a Termar Trading Lab TTL VIP member, please don't just ask questions here and take it as the chart analysis. Let's have a conversation about it in the VIP chat. All right. I don't want anything I say to. This is a high level fast analysis meant for the public, not meant for my premium traders. So I will look at charts, but we should have a bigger conversation if you're part of that group. MOS looks like it's going to grind right back down into the... Yeah. It's a gnarly chart. If we get below that, it's probably coming on down pretty hard. And next level down. I see some names and questions. I want to bring it up. Like, if it's more complex question, you want to overlay charts and talk about differences and stuff like that, just ask in the Termar Trading Lab. That's why I have the VIP group, so we can have bigger conversations. Don't feel like you're bothering me by asking questions in the Termar Trading Lab, because that's why we started the Termar Trading Lab. LYN looks like a flaming pile of dumpster fire. UST, I thought I already looked at that one. There is nothing I can do. There's not enough history. MSFT is probably going to roll back down to the roadmap line. Right there. So either we grind out to 426, 434, or we head back down. Downside is potential. CAH, Cardinal Health, grinding up. High, low. Pop there, drop there. 114, 114, 117, with the potential to come down to the roadmap line. There's support. There's resistance. There you go. Coin flip. May pop it and then drop it. Or just retrace another one of these before we grind on higher. URA. I sold calls on that today. Sold $40 calls out in April, I think it was. Potential roadmap line bounce. 35.40, my upside targets. So we made a higher nominal higher high. Probably pop up to 35, then 36, then retrace again. There you go. That's URA. NVIDIA is... There's not anything I'm going to say. The downside risk is bigger than any upside future potential reward. $3.06 trillion market cap makes it the largest company in the world, up there at $12.50. Do you think NVIDIA is the largest company in the world? Shoot for $12.50. Otherwise, watch out below. We are due an outsized correction. We're sitting here roughly 50%, 56% above the roadmap line. Price to sales ratio is sitting at ridiculous levels compared to historical. 32, 66 price to earnings. We have typically hung out down here historically 15 to 20. We're sitting at 32. That's a 50% retrace. Just to bring that back in line. Be careful. This trade will end one day or another. AGIX USD. Oh, yeah. That's what I thought. It was a crypto. Probably played out. Right to 4236. What do they do when they get overzealous? They retrace. Wouldn't surprise me to come back into that zone right around 50 cents. Right there. What does it do then? I don't know. Could come back to the roadmap line. That was only... It's only a 3-wave move. If it holds here and goes, it'll probably go on up to $1.20, maybe. If it... I don't have all my fib tools to show you why I think that. Anyway. Rivian, yeah. It hadn't reverse split yet, but you just wait for it. Haven't got to the single digits yet. It's not far away. Golly, look at that. Look at her go. What a piece of garbage stock. Yeah, 675 for the target. Doesn't have long to go. Just another 50%. Poof. Anyway. I don't know if I did that. I don't remember if I did Apple or not. I talked about Apple. Apple is stuck on the roadmap line. Failure to launch here. We're just stuck sideways. Support, 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 support. Upside resistance. If we can get above it, there's the target. If we break below support, there's the target. Back down 150. Up here, 210. And we're just kind of in a coin flip zone in between. Not much to say either way on Apple. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 touches. Post market up. Oh, looks like 50 cents. I haven't really done anything since July. That's a heck of a consolidation. I mean, that was a nice rip, but just really when you zoom out and look, actually, it's been nowhere since May. Almost entire year. Almost one entire year doing nothing but sideways. Ugh. Being the big dog, I mean, that's probably just churning money right there. Just churning money. TSL. Yeah, come on, Goose. You're supposed to ask for a meme stock, meme stocks. You know. Get the memes. TSM, resistance up here, support down here. Simple as that. We're closer to resistance than we are to support. If we break above resistance, we could go on up, but triple top might be the top for a while. CCJ. Right back down the roadmap line. Aggressive entry above here. Conservative entry above here. Target 54, 58. But we got to do something. Like this can just keep on trucking down. Support, bigger term support down here. So far, we're not able to get back up through there yet. And that kind of plays on out over here. Resistance, resistance, support, resistance. Probably going down here. Be careful. Be careful. Anyway, TSLA. Lately, did anybody watch Night Country on HBO Max, whatever? Every time I see Tesla right now, I want to say Salah. It was the Arctic base where the crimes happen. I know Kimberly did. Kimberly watched it with me, or I watched it with her. Anyway, Tesla, fill the gap, resistance. As I said this morning, that's the resistance. We're just working our way up there. Retraced all right once, retrace again. Just gotta get her up. Every time I see the Tesla, I want to say Salah. It was a good show. It really was. It was had me riveted right to the end. I didn't quite some of those other mystery in that series. I've like had a theory. That one I was like, I don't know. I don't know right up to the end. Anyway. E bounced off the roadmap line. At support, if we're going higher, if we get below, watch out below. May go down to 42, possibly even bigger picture, 30 down there. All right, INTC. Almost a roadmap line bounce, a little bit lower. Support right there. I've got an alert for when it hits at 41. Looking for 54, 57 on the upside potential. And Beyond Meat, BYND, is looking like a piece of garbage. Man, look at that. Dumpster fire. The only thing missing is the reverse split. The reverse split. $4, $2. Ugh. Popping after hours, but who wants to buy this crap? Who wants to buy this crap? Could it reverse here? It could, but long term, what makes you think that's gonna reverse? Expected to lose 80 cents. Lost like $2. Dollar. 80 cents. Dollar. They've never made money. Is like a is this like fake it till you make it? Anyway, this is ridiculous. Anyway, cost. Yeah, rocking on higher. That it completed the pattern, so watch out for a retrace at this point. I cannot even believe that. All the way back here, well, last March when I was talking about the potential for this to go to 737. I didn't trade it because I was like, there is no way. No way. There it is. Right to the target. 737. Watch for reaction. Could we go 870? Sure. I disbelief right there. If you traded it, congratulations. Be careful. Now it's time to protect profits. Don't. I mean, look. Slow down at the 61272, the 666 area, then right up to the 1618. Be careful. I don't believe it. I'm straight up don't believe it. Took a long time, but there you go. Yeah, I'm fake it till you make it. I guess I'm not eating them. I'm not eating that stuff. If I don't know what's in it, I'm not eating it. USAC. Hey, look, seriously, Rungamer, you just want me to pull this up. You just want me to show this off. These are real chicken breasts, or chicken thighs. Real chicken thighs right there. And real pasta salad with bacon in it. And, I mean, that's the kind of meat right there. I got this new grill. If you didn't see this morning, got this baby. RecTech 1250. It was on President's Day sale. Beautiful ribs. First cook. And this was the second cook. And we had smoked burgers last night. I don't have an awesome picture of those. That food's all gone. So, there you go. RecTech 1250. So nice. It's a pellet grill. It ramps the... It has a fan and a igniter and like ramps the speed up and down, the whole temperature. It has like PID controls. And super nice. Super nice. Anyway. USAC... Maybe a roadmap bounce. I'm not keen on that churn right there, but possibly we could see an extension upside if we get above 25.50, maybe 28, 29. Break down below 22 would not be would be no bueno, as you might say. As you might say. And AMD, maybe get an extension higher, possibly on up here, 2220, but at some point we're probably going to retrace it back down in this 85 to 90, maybe 100 area at whenever we find the top, which we may have already found the top, so be careful. All right, there you go. How did your solar system come out? It's still in the assembly phase. I don't like the cold. If you haven't noticed, me living in a sweatshirt. I was in a sweatshirt most of the day, and I don't like the cold, so I don't tend to mess around outside when it's cold and nasty. This time of year, it's like a bog in the front yard anyway, or in every yard I have. It was raining today. Hadn't rained in a few days, but it was still like a bog. And sometime in March, it'll dry out, and I can start doing stuff again. So, all right, that's it, everybody. That's the last request that I see. We will be back in the morning for Morning Monster. Same bat time, same bat channel every morning, 9:15. Come watch me, come participate, come hang out. We'll see what's moving in the morning. Remember, we have that preliminary GDP numbers coming out fresh and hot in the morning. We'll see what that does. I'm not so sure if we're going to be popping or we're going to be dropping. Right there, preliminary GDP. And have a great night, everybody.